Coming to you straight from the Rio Grande and beyond. Broadcasting to the four corners of the globe. So grab your seat, your coffee, or your sundowner.
Okay, everybody, here we go.
On point, as always. This is Gloves Off. Gloves Off.
5, 4. We're back at you in Gloves Off. I'm Paul Buitrón. I'm here with Honorable Judge Oscar Liendo. We're going to touch base on a lot of the laws that changed in the last 2 years, because we've kind of been away from the scene, or away from a couple of things within what that can place you in front of a justice of the peace court. Judge, how have you been?
Good. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, it's good to see you. It's always a pleasure.
Thank you.
And as we were talking before, some laws changed.
Yes.
And COVID has basically separated the courts from the people, and everything's through Zoom, and folks do not understand what's going on. Explain to us some of the new laws that came and that are now in effect and that are basically affecting a lot of people.
Yes, nowadays, since of course the Texas Supreme Court lifted the order on any COVID restrictions, our biggest caseload is of course evictions. And for the past 18 months, 19 months, a lot of people did not pay rent for COVID-related issues, etc., by orders by the Supreme Court, the CDC. Now, of course, all that has been lifted. So now our biggest caseload, like I said, is evictions. So people are facing evictions on a weekly basis. I handle about, every Wednesday, they'll hear about 20 cases a day. So, it's coming along, but there are some programs out there that can help the people that are available to them at no charge. And of course, one of them is the Texas Rent Relief Program. It's something that is available to any resident in Webb County or in the state of Texas. So, there is help available, because if you have not paid rent in the past 18 months, now your landlord is going to want you out of there.
Absolutely. And I've seen, I know what you're trying to say, because there was a lot of people that were affected. There was a lot of jobs that were affected, especially with COVID. There was people that were not at work and they can't go back to work, and mask mandates and everything else is changing so quickly. Mm-hmm. That a lot of individuals have gotten into that hole that they already owe, and they don't know what to do. And so some of these programs, if let's say a person is stuck in back and it's coming up, does your office help them get some relief, or tell them go to this program? Can they do that, or they find some help?
As a judge, once we get that court going on the selected court date, as a judge, I advise them of the programs that are available. And one of the biggest programs that is available, of course, is the Texas Rent Relief Program. There's billions of dollars that were issued by the U.S. government to help these people that got into that hole for not paying rent for the past 18 months. So there is money available. All you have to do, of course, and we will provide that information, we refer you to the Texas Rio Grande Legal Aid. You have the city, the community, the Webb County Community Action Agency. The city of Laredo has ERAP, which is the Emergency Residential Rental Assistance Program. So there are a variety of programs out there, but the people need to apply. And at this level now, you're talking about maybe 10, 18 months behind rent. They can help you out with up to 18 months of rent. 12 months a year back and 3 months forward. So it's a total of 15 months. And it can be, of course, any amount of rent, which in our jurisdiction on residential is $20,000. So up to $20,000 you can apply through that Texas Rent Relief Program, make an application. Once you make that application and you're in accordance with the landlord, we put your case on hold for 60 days. So you cannot be evicted. In the meanwhile, the application goes through. If it's approved, of course, the landlord gets the full amount of the money from the state.
Sure.
And if you do not qualify for any reason, or you as a tenant do not follow through, in 60 days, the landlord is going to say, you know what, Oscar didn't follow through, we're going to follow through the eviction. So you place that eviction back in the docket, and then you will be evicted. But there is help available.
Absolutely. And that not only goes through that goes through commercial as well. Can people that had small businesses, can that be used as well, or is it only just a private, more of a citizen?
It's more of a residential type of aspect. On a commercial, of course, you have contracts,
Sure.
big contracts, because you're talking, bigger amounts of rent. So that is totally a different issue. But, what we're dealing more now is basically residential, and that's why they offer those billions of dollars. But here in Webb County, we spoke months ago, and only about 50 households have taken advantage of that program. Now, year to date, right now, it's been like 225 households have taken advantage of it, and it's they average about $5,500 that they get back from the Texas Rent Relief Program. So they're taking advantage of it.
Sure.
But there's still more money available. There's over $1 billion left still.
Absolutely.
in the piggyback.
Absolutely. And that has brought into a lot of things as well. Your court also sees a lot of truancy cases.
Yes.
And COVID also the same thing. There's a lot of people that say, I'm not going to send my kid going to school. How does that affect the truancy when the parent says, I don't want him to go to school?
And that is another issue that as far as a student, if they're 12 years of age or older, we bring the student, of course, to the courts. What you're talking about is when a parent doesn't want to send them to school, which are your students that 12 years of age and younger. We are seeing cases as we speak. As a matter of fact, we got some folders from the schools, this past week. So now it's a parent contributing to non-attendance. So that is an issue. Says, well, I don't believe in masks. I don't believe in the vaccine. I don't want to send him to school. Who's going to pay for his sickness or his funeral, etc.? So there's a lot of issues that we're going to have to deal with once we start hearing these cases. But of course, we're not here to punish.
Of course.
We're here to lead them in the right direction.
Absolutely.
And it's and through that, I mean, okay, what are your concerns? How can we address these issues? Can we have the school come and talk to you? Do you need some, as far as some guidance through, communities in schools, through SCAN, through Pillar? We have different entities that offer parental support so they can calm their fears of what's actually going on. Because of so many mandates that, yes, you wear a mask, no, you don't wear a mask, wear it if you want to. So the kids get, confused as well. But we're there to help. We're not there to punish, so we have programs that are available to guide the parent and the student in the right direction.
Absolutely, and that's basically what they need, because a lot of parents basically a lot of the vast majority of Laredoans are in fear of what's going on. They don't know what's going on. They do not know if they're going to have a job. They do not know if, so there's that doubt of faith that lost. So we have to kind of bring back hope and faith and take away that fear from them. And folks need to understand that you all aren't there, like you said, to punish. You all are there to guide, because people, especially with this, a lot of people went under.
Yeah.
And let's help them to get back up and on their feet, and that's what it's for.
Yeah.
And but there's others that take advantage of that.
Yes, they use that as an excuse, and of course, once you go that route and try to help them, and they decide, what, I don't want anything to do with it, then as a parent, of course, now you're dealing with a contempt of court.
Right.
Because now it's an order from the judge for you to get counseling, get help here and there. So once you get into that contempt of court, then you start issuing fines, which is $100 a day, $100 for the first absence, $200 for the second one. So it goes on. And of course, unfortunately, if it gets to that level, it can either be incarceration for up to 3 days.
Sure.
So, once you get people that don't want the help, and you do run into people that don't want the help.
They're about there. What would you say, Judge? What do you foresee that's going to happen with all these cases that are coming up? Naturally, there are more going to come of age, but what do you foresee that our next problems that are going to occur? Usually we kind of can tell, we're going to start seeing a rise on these type of cases. What do you see now?
And right now, as we spoke a little while ago, of course, we see the young children, and I think that We started with 2 or 3 cases a week ago. Now we're getting folders 10, 12. So that's the foreseeable future of what I see is basically the parents that will be contributing for the non-attendance. Because of course, fear is a big factor. It's a driving force amongst many families. And of course, I have children, I have grandchildren. So, it is fear. So like you say, we need to calm those fears and make them, feel a little bit more secure about the environment they're sending their children into. And I think the schools are doing a good job of it, LISD, UISD, with the programs that they have. So we need to work together to calm those fears and send these kids back to school. Because as we were talking about, we're children, grandchildren, education is a big part of everything that we're going to do. And, unfortunately, we got hit with COVID, but now we have to supersede those fears and send these kids back to school.
Absolutely. Absolutely. There's any other changes in the laws that people might not know about that changed? Especially when now we're talking about 2020 as well, September 2020, now September 2021. What has changed? Because a lot of people kind of just went into the dark right as soon as the mandate started.
Yes, as of September, we were, as far as we do a lot of small claims as well. For different, of course, people that owe you money, somebody crashed into your fence, crashed your car, a lot of non-insured drivers, etc. Our limit was at 10,000 a year ago, but come September 1st, now our judicial limit went up to 20,000. So you can actually file a lawsuit from $200 up to $20,000 for damages done or work not performed, contracts broken. So you can still come to this court, which is basically the people's court, and you don't actually need an attorney as long as you go and you represent yourself professionally and have all your ducks in order and all the paperwork that you need to. You can go and file. In the People's Court was in any JP court here in Webb County, which are 6 just a piece of Webb County. So that's one of the issues that, of course, is coming up. Our judicial limit went up to 20,000. So we're hearing a lot more cases because before it was only 10.
Okay, and that would push us into the next question, and that question is, if you're, let's say you reside in Webb County, can you file in any of the JPs, or does it have to be a specific JP for a specific precinct or district where you live in?
And as far as on the eviction purposes, it does pertain to the precinct that you're in.
Okay.
So if you live here in the Hillside area, you would file with me. Or if you live in the south, you have 2 JPs up there. If you live in the north, you file with JP Salinas. So, on eviction cases, it does kind of set you on the precinct that you live in.
Absolutely.
But on as far as
small
claims, you can file in any JP court. And basically on most of even on the truancies, you can file at any JP court. We do divide it, amongst professionals, the JPs that we are. We hear, UISD and LISD. Some JPs hear both districts. But as, we kind of take it in stride and everybody gets their part of the school. So it won't be a burden on only one JP, but on actual cases like small claims and truancy, you can file anywhere in Webb County.
Absolutely. So it basically just goes through.
Yeah, and the evictions is more tailored to your precinct.
Absolutely. And right now, are they through Zoom, or are they in person, or how are they?
Basically, right now, all of our courts, by direction of our Texas Justice Court Training Center, and of course the Supreme Court, is through Zoom. And in my situation, in my court, we always have it in Zoom, but in our courtroom, I made a little kiosk. So some people, elderly, that are not fully functional on your Zoom, on your tablets, on your phone, we have access in our court that we might have the other person through Zoom, and if you're not, electronically, knowledgeable, we'll put you in the courtroom with your own monitor, by yourself, microphone and video, and you can participate in the Zoom meeting in our courtroom. So we made a little kiosk inside the courtroom. It's secure, it's clean. So even if you're not adaptable to the communication that is now, which is Zoom or your tablet or phone, we have access to it in our courtroom. But the majority of our cases are Zoom related.
So right now, everything is, and that's throughout Texas, everything is, in-person courts are out.
In-person courts are out. From the last notice that we got, we're looking until maybe April of 2022. And of course, on the higher courts, I know they are having some. I know, federal courts, which is another level. They have their own different guidelines that they can
Sure.
that can approach, of course, because you have a lot of criminal cases out there. A lot of us is basically a lot of civil cases.
Absolutely. And it's how can I put it? And it's changed dramatically. This pandemic has changed everybody in the way it is, and I think people have to, we kind of understand more or less what's going on. So I think we have to kind of step down and say, let's start moving life forward and let's start getting back to normal and stop living in fear and to start getting the help that we can.
Yes.
And if folks need help, there's plenty of help out there, like as you were saying, with all the programs that are there. And many folks don't know it, but
Yes.
they should follow through with them, because I know for a fact that there's a lot of people that lost their jobs, haven't gone back. They were working for a company that's no longer back.
That's right.
So there's some rough times that we've been in.
And of course, our office is always open to the public. One thing I stress is, of course, the doors are always open to help people. And of course, we might see the case over and over, but for some people, it's the first time that they go to that court. So our clerks are trained to give them the information they need, even if it might not even pertain to my court. We have access to different, programs available throughout the county, throughout the state. So if they have any question, of course, questions are, at no charge. You can come and ask us. We cannot give legal advice, but we can send you to someone that can get you that advice.
Absolutely. Or in the direction of where needs to be help.
Yes, sir.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Judge, I want to thank you for what you do. And I want to thank you for coming out and explaining to us that, because those are the points that many of us lost, or many of them do not know. And that help that's needed, that, as you said, you're there not to punish, you're there to guide and make the peace. Basically, that's what the court is.
That's what it's all about,
peace,
yes.
the peace back in the community. And folks, remember Judge Liendo, and they'll be there in this court, and he's always there to help folks out. So, with that note, you guys should be safe, stay safe, and always be safe. Until next time, much peace.